Hello everybody and welcome back. I am KRX, so we're continuing on with this beginner tutorial for Europa Universalis 4. We're playing as Muscovy, and of course this is not a guide for Muscovy, right? I really want to stress this. This is a guide on how to play Europa Universalis. We're just looking at Muscovy, we're looking at our personal missions and ambitions, we're looking at our diplomatic ecosystem, and we're making decisions, right? And this is the process that we would use for any country. Every country conquers their neighbors on some level and gets unrest and instability and has to work through that. These are just the common things that we're going to be working through all the time. So now that actually our overextension has come down, our economy is rebounding quite a bit. That's because our trade power is not being so negatively affected. It actually says now we can make states. So we can actually make stated land. Okay, so here's the thing. If we click on Novgorod here, this is because we've cored it, right? We've cored this. And when we look at this, we can see that there's 90% autonomy. We haven't talked about autonomy at all. But if we look at our own country, or even our capital here, we can see there's no autonomy. And that makes sense, right? There's basically no autonomy in our main core land, our heartland. And that's because these are states, but also these have been states for a while, right? The autonomy here, it says that because it is a territory, the minimum autonomy, it cannot be lower than 90% because it's a territory. These are territories. We can make these states. And you can see that because there's a high autonomy in these territories, we're not getting any benefit from these, almost. I mean, local trade power is reduced 45%. Production by 90%, tax by 90%, manpower 90%, all these crazy modifiers here, right? All these crazy modifiers. This is good, rich land in our main trade node. We want to state this. So the thing about states is you're not limited to how many states you have. It goes into your stability tab. If we go to our stability tab here, we can see it's part of our governing capacity. We can continue to make states basically up until this governing capacity is full. So right now we have quite a bit of space still, right? 180 out of 300. We're pretty good. We got room to state all this up, all this good land up. But for the most part, we are kind of eventually, as this gets fuller and fuller and fuller, we have to pick and choose where are the important provinces, where are the rich provinces, where are the important trade areas that we need to state, and leaving the rest of it to be natural territories. Like up here, that's probably going to be a territory, right? This is clearly probably going to be a territory. But this here, this might even be a territory. We'll have to wait and see. This in here is definitely getting closer into our good heartland area. We'll probably want to do that. We'll probably want to do this one. This one's a little bit trickier because it's only one province and it's mostly controlled by these guys. But again, this is part of our culture area, and we will eventually integrate our subjects, so that's fine. We'll probably eventually conquer this from Lithuania as well. So we'll make that a state. You can see these ones can't be states yet because we're still coring. So we're still coring this land, and you can see here there's core progress right here. So we can't make this. We'll make those states, but we have to wait for some of these cores to finish to make more states. But it does, and actually, unfortunately or fortunately or whatever, to get the full benefit here, we have to actually make it a state core. That makes it more expensive. So it's actually going to cost an extra 100 to do this. It's going to cost us even more. Oh, monopoly company formed. So we can get extra trade efficiency for 15 years and 50 diplomatic power. Or we could just get a bunch of ducats. We could just get a bunch of ducats, get a bunch of cash. Cash now versus cash later. Cash now is definitely good, right? Usually these are tuned in such a way that you should be able to sort of get a better return on investment by going for the long-term option. But here's the most valuable thing here is the 50 diplomatic power. Again, power, this ties into our technology. This ties into all kinds of other things that we need desperately, like making interactions with other countries and stuff like that. We absolutely, the admin power, diplomatic power, and military power are priceless. So I would absolutely forego some money to get trade efficiency and that, most importantly, diplomatic power. That is totally fine. We're actually making pretty good money. Like, it is adding up. And of course, the money is helping balance our economy. It also allows us to build more troops, which we have no manpower to build troops, right? We talked about this a little bit. It doesn't say here, I wish it said here, but to build this, it requires manpower, not enough manpower. We need 1,000 manpower to build, like, more regiments. We're still working on replenishing the ones that we have. So that's still, you know, that we're basically, it is starting to accumulate though. We are finally starting to accumulate that, which is good. Money though, alternatively, money can be used to make basically infrastructure investments and build buildings. The thing is, we haven't quite actually unlocked buildings yet. We can see that there's some buildings that we unlock as we get more technologies. We'll be able to get the church, which increases local tax modifier. So there's a return on investment on that eventually, right? And we can get marketplaces, which increase local trade power, and so on and so forth. So there'll be additional different kinds of buildings that we can start to invest in to help our economy in the future. Once we get those technologies, and those technologies will sort of pile in, assuming that we ever get done with this coring, which is taking absolutely forever, no joke. I think we might wait on this one, right? This is pretty low development land, and it is an accepted culture though. Oh, there's guys up here. Let's get these guys home. Let's get these guys home. So we've fully reinforced our army. We could actually reduce army maintenance even more. We're making good. In fact, we're making money even if we pay for the army. But there's really no reason to pay for the army right now until we need to fight rebellion. It looks like rebellion's at 70%. You know what? Let's bring them online. Let's bring the army online. Rebellion is going to happen soon. We could even get these forts online. It's likely that they will spawn in Novgorod because it is the richest province. The highest development province oftentimes is the province that we can suspect the rebellion will occur. So how many people can we store here safely? It says 19. Well, that's because it's May. We're going into summertime. Let's group everybody up on Novgorod and get ready to fight this rebellion, because we can anticipate them popping up here, which is really cool. Ooh, I just realized an issue. Potentially. We could be suppressing... We're suppressing the unrest here so much that it might not even happen in Novgorod. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the fort. Okay? And we're going to move off of Novgorod. And we're going to let it fester and let it build up and let it spawn on Novgorod. Hopefully, we're at 90%, okay? It could happen any month now. It's likely to happen within the next few months, statistically speaking. These guys, I'm just going to move these guys over to here to take care of that rebellion, right? They can stomp that 0.2% out. That's nothing. Okay, they've spawned here. Well, here's the thing. We have our fort online. Our fort is online. It will defend. There is a small garrison there. They will not immediately be able to take that. And when we attack into the rebels, okay, we will be the defender. Again, just like we were talking about with the forts, right? The forts always allow the person who controls the fort to be in the defensive position. So if we show province, if we look at this battle here, if we click on the battle, we can see the rebels are getting a -1 because of terrain. They're fighting in the woods. They're attacking into the woods. They're attacking in a sense that they're doing the siege on the city, right? So we knew those rebels were coming. We prepared for them. We intercepted them. Boom. Novgorodian rebels are done. They're done for now, at least, because if we click on these provinces, we can see in the unrest tab there's a -100 modifier. Recent uprising, -100. There's still a lot of separatism there, okay? There's still 14% separatism. So when that recent rebellion, which is 10-year cooldown, once that's over, there will be a chance that these guys rise up again. But at that point, things will change. The separatism will go down, right? The separatism will go down. So there's a chance this won't happen. I'm going to hit this button down here. There's a little button that lets us... I accidentally did this without explaining it, guys. I apologize. You can turn forts on individually right here. So I can turn this fort on or turn it off. So I've turned that fort off. The other way that I did it was you can activate all forts or you can mothball all forts. This is how we turned them off originally after the war, is we mothballed all the forts. Okay. So what I'm thinking though is we're thinking about we have spy network with... We have 37 spy network with the Golden Horde. Okay, let's get the claim over here. We only need 20 for a claim. So let's get that on the Golden Horde. There we go. And let's start to actually, let's get into a position here where we might be able to actually attack the Golden Horde, or at least that let's assess, right? Because, rebellion-wise, am I crazy? Let's wait till the next month. Because these guys, I think, once it updates, I think these guys will... There we go, they've grayed out. They're going away. They are... The progress of this rebellion is decreasing. It's being removed. It's going away. This rebellion here, it's only one province. It's going to take 10 years for it to rebel, statistically speaking. That's what it suspects. It suspects it'll be about 10 years before these guys actually rise up against us. Not something that we're worried about at all. We could absolutely afford a diplomatic advisor if there's one that suits us. A diplomatic reputation is always kind of a nice thing. Just help sort of maintain positive relations with people. These guys are all looking good, though. Those guys are all looking good. We're making a profit. That's with our army paid for. We're making a good profit with the army paid for. We could continue to try to build up to our force limit, but we have no manpower. Alternatively, we can hire mercenaries. Mercenaries are in this tab. They're very expensive. They're very expensive, but they do not require manpower, and they have their own manpower pool. So we could actually hire these 6,000 mercenaries, but the thing is, I don't know if we need that. I think let's look at the situation between us and the Great Horde. Let's see what the breakdown is here. I'm going to bring back our Great Horde spy. We've already got our claim. We have a reason to attack the Great Horde. We do not need that spy working in the Great Horde anymore. Although we have worked significantly on the Ottomans to make them happy. Let's see, will they accept an alliance with us? They're so close. They are so close. How much would it cost to send them a gift? Right, if we send them a gift, you can see their opinions going up by 10 here. It would be very expensive. It would be very expensive to send them a gift. They are very, very close to wanting to ally us, though, right? They're at 31 positive reasons and 35 negative reasons. Part of it is there's an army differential. They don't respect our army because they have a more powerful army. So this is one reason to build those mercenaries potentially. We could potentially build these mercenaries in order to sort of inflate. This is 6,000 mercenaries. We could build these 6,000 mercenaries to inflate. That's going to be expensive. It's going to be expensive, but we can inflate our own military power a little bit by building these mercs. So let's let these mercs come in. Mercs build very quickly. There they are. And then they have to like build up their morale a little bit. Let's see. How did that do? It did make a difference. It did make a difference. But we're still not quite there. Okay, so I'm looking at this and I'm just thinking like opinion is going up by 23. So it's basically you get a couple modifiers per man, we could potentially do this. We need more money. That would increase their likelihood to ally us by about 2. Military access, does that give them anything? What else can we do here to make them happy? Definitely don't want to issue an embargo. That would be a bad thing. I don't want to send them an insult. There's really nothing we can. It says we could royal marry them, but unfortunately we cannot royal marry with Sunni nations. Ottomans are actually Sunni faith, so they don't want to royal marry an Orthodox nation. We don't want to royal marry them really either. We could ask for military access, but I don't think that actually increases like the relationship here. And we're so close, but we're short. We're short. Diplomatic reputation, right? One of the things is our diplomatic reputation is, well, if we get more legitimacy, that'll help, but it takes time to build legitimacy, right? We're getting 1 per year, but that does factor, our legitimacy is factoring into our diplomatic reputation. There's a little bit of a negative from overextension, so it's possible that removing this overextension right here could make a difference. It's possible. We could just buy them. We could just buy them. I think if we gave them, if we got about 15, we need about a +3, right? If we got about 12, if we could get up to 12 here, then I think they would accept that. Are we making money even now with the mercs? The other thing we could try to do is we could try to build another troop, because we're still 1 below our force limit. That would finish our force limit mission. So let's do that. Let's also here, we didn't really know if for sure if we even needed to build up that much, but we've done it anyways, which is fine. Let's get a spy network going on. Well, we don't really need a spy network on Kazan. We just need to go beat up the Great Horde. If we attack the Great Horde and we're just floating the idea, right? Nogai would join, and then this country would join. This little, well, that country is pretty far away and pretty small. I don't think that's very relevant. So we can assess down here that says that it looks like the Great Horde has 8,000 infantry. Nogai has 5,000, and the Great Horde has 5,000 cavalry, and Nogai has none. So they have in total 18,000 troops. We have significantly more than that. Significantly more than that. So this would be a pretty decisive war. Alternatively, we can always go to the tab here and look at these people more directly. See more detailed sort of information here in sort of the ledger spreadsheet, right? Bottom right, there's the ledger button. We've used that a couple times so far. But here we have, yeah, Kazan has... Actually, we're not fighting Kazan. It would be Nogai. It would be Nogai. They have manpower at least. So these countries do actually have manpower, which is surprising. It's kind of a bummer that they'll even defend, considering that Kazan just ravaged through Nogai. Actually took some land from the Great Horde too, it looks like. But I think this is still a war that we win. The only thing that I'm thinking is that Ottomans will not ally us if we're at war. They will not ally us if we're at war. We are so close to getting that, it's not even funny. Wait a second. 33 out of 34? Let's wait for this troop to get built. Let's wait for this troop to get built. We might be able to get him with a gift. This troop right here might make the difference. Let's go up to speed 4. Let's make sure that our diplomats are doing something useful. We could just make Crimea happy. That might be okay. Okay, let's see what happens next month. We've added one more troop. It went down. Now it went down for some reason. They don't like the fact that we have a weak navy. Really what it's all coming down to is that weak navy is really getting us. Although I think if we actually delivered them 100 gold, I think they would accept. So do we want to do that? We have no other allies that are even potential. Ottomans are one of the most powerful nations in the game. We have really no other allies that are even... Poland has no interest in us. All of these nations down here have no interest in us. Denmark has rivaled us. They don't like us at all. We have another little mission right here that's popped up. So this is a big decision, right? I mean, gold is precious at the beginning of the game, but we're paying for army. We're making a profit. We can make more gold. We can make more gold. Clergy would be a little bit upset by this, but not enough to get into the negative, below 30, right? 30 is the magic number. 30 is the magic number. We would gain some prestige. Alternatively, we would lose prestige. Prestige, we haven't talked too much about this, but it trends towards 0, right? If you're at negative 100, it tries to get back to 0. If you're at a positive 100, it tries to get back to 0. So right now we're at 32, and it's trying to actually fight its way back down to 0. So you always have to fight to keep this up. It gives us trade power, gives us morale of armies, it gives us improved relations, so many really good things here. Prestige is really, really good, but it's something that's fleeting. It's not really like a long-term permanent benefit. And if we can actually get more Patriarchal Authority, we can start working on it. We haven't talked about this, but Patriarchal Authority gives us missionary strength, it gives us clergy influence, it gives us local unrest, it gives us manpower recovery. That is good. Local manpower recovery is really good. This is the first event where we can actually start boosting our Patriarch Authority. So that's actually really good. So that's now giving us a small amount of additional manpower, which we desperately do need, right? In fact, is there any way to potentially get anything from the estates? I'm seeing a lot of grayed out stuff. I've seen stuff that costs land. We could continue to seize back land. I mean, these guys are rather upset. What's their equilibrium? Their equilibrium is not so high. What can we do for the merchants here? Very little. Very little. Oh, well, we are paying for a diplomatic advisor now. It might be worth doing that. Make the diplomatic advisor cheaper. So that'll save us some money. This reduces our tax, but it gives us more prestige per year. We just talked about how prestige is good. I'm just wondering, I think we already have the manpower one here that is giving us 37% more manpower. So I think we've kind of like done these to the best of our ability here for a bit. Equilibrium for these guys is now at 48%, which is good. I'd like to get that a little higher. I mean, this would get it a little higher, but that would reduce our tax. We're making most of our money from taxation. So that would be a decent hit. Even 5% reduced would be not good. Not good. Yeah, I'm not in love with those choices there. We did finish a mission, so it's saying we built up to our force limit. We can activate this before we fight the Great Horde, which could be really good. Because we know we're going to be fighting a few different nations here. So that'll give us extra morale of armies. It'll make everybody really happy to fight. And it'll give us this for 25 years. So it's definitely going to last for more than just one war. Ottomans, Ottomans, Ottomans. Too many. We just lost it. I'm glad we didn't pay them, but we just lost the Ottomans. Too many diplomatic relations. Their diplomatic relationship limit has been reached. So it's not that they won't ally, but they really want a good reason to ally. If the Ottomans ever go friendly with us, right now they consider us, they don't care about us. Like, we're unknown. It's not even neutral. They like literally are like, who's Muscovy again? Like, they barely even know who we are. So as we get closer down into this region, though, they will likely discover us. It could be that once we actually attack the Great Horde, they might have more understanding of who we are, and they could actually just become a friendly nation towards us because we are powerful. Let's do this. Morale of armies, let's do it. Let's hit that button. Oh, expand Muscovy. We finished the next one too. This gives us local construction cost reduction and local development cost reduction by for 25 years by 10%. There is a case to save this for the future. And if you're really trying to maximize this, you're going to wait until you want to build a bunch of stuff, right? We're not building anything yet because we don't have the money to build anything. We don't have the technology to build anything. But the thing is, this is going to be sitting up here saying mission fulfilled if we don't click this forever and ever and ever. I wish there was a way to like mark these so that it didn't like spam you like that. But there you go. That's just how it is. That's just how it's going to be. It does give us extra development though in our capital, right? In Moscow, it gives us extra base tax, extra base production, extra manpower. That's all really, really good stuff. That's all really good stuff. But then it gives us those benefits we can't really utilize right now until we get some more technology. We got this done too quickly. We got that done too fast, which is really, really funny, but really, really cool. And the reason why we got this done is because we had just expanded our country, right? We'd conquered Novgorod, and that was the requirements for expanding Muscovy, is just getting a certain amount of new land. Here it's saying we have to expand, it has grown a certain amount of states, and then we can actually get this modified. We could just keep working down these different mission trees here. In fact, actually, we do have some more states that we can get, right? So potentially this could be a state that we might want to make. So I'm clicking on the province, and then I'm going to the state. So this is the province. But if we go to the state section, and then I'm just visualizing what highlights. Like, do I want this land? Is it good land? Like, is it like an important section of our country and stuff? I'm like, yeah, sure. Let's state that. Here I'm thinking I'm a little bit. This is 4 provinces, which is kind of nice. It's also if we go to trade goods here, I believe it's a lot of fur, naval supplies. Fur I think is a pretty good trade resource if I remember correctly. Salt I think is not too bad. So maybe we will want to state this as well, because it is also our primary culture group. Yeah, I think we just want to state everything that's mostly our culture group. I don't think there's any reason not to. This is a little bit... This land up here is really junk land. And, like, it's going to be a while probably before we take this particular land from Sweden and Norway. So I think for the most part, this is just going to kind of hang out up here and be relatively inefficient. Well, we just took it for strategic reasons, right? We actually took this land to prevent Sweden and Norway from taking it themselves. So this does mean that there's more cores to do here. Now, those cores, the state cores, do not create overextension, so you don't have to core them. But until you core them, they're still going to remain territories. So we've now made these, if we wait a month, right? Let's pause at the first of the month in October. So now we can see that the autonomy is reset down to its true autonomy, 35%. And that will slowly go down because we're at peace. At peace, this will decay. And there's other modifiers that we can get that will help decay that down. So and as this goes down to 0, then the province will become more and more useful for us. But 35% is obviously way better than 90%. So it's still significantly better than where we were. I'm going to go back down to speed 3 because we are about to start a war here. Yeah, it's warning us that we can state that province, which I don't care about. Oh, it's actually saying we could state this one. I'm going to go to the trade map mode for a second. This is actually in the primary trade node, Novgorod. That is in the primary trade node. So this is going to be land that's going to, we want it to be low autonomy and have a lot of production and stuff so that it makes this a more wealthy trade node. So I think we do eventually want to state this too. The thing to think about though is the fact that, oh, nice. So that one was already cored. That was already sort of a core. So this actually, if we click on this, the autonomy here might be really low. We'll check that later. We need to declare war at the first of the month. That's a good time to declare war because if it'll kind of surprise these guys. Where are their forts though? If we go to the fort map mode over here, and again, you can find the fort map mode just looking through the map modes. And I have it set up to be here behind the Imperial Authority, behind the HRE map mode, which we don't really care about yet because we're not really next to the HRE in any way. So the Great Horde have a fort here. We can click on it and make sure they're paying for it. Yep, oh, in fact, this is their capital. Capital marker up here. So this is their capital. There's also a little sort of like crown on this post. It tells us that's their capital. They also have this down here, and I'm just trying to sort of see the outline. It's very faint. It'd be nice if that was more clear, but there you go. They have a fort down here. They're paying for that one as well. Nogai looks like they only have their capital fort over here and no other forts. So this shouldn't be too difficult because the capital fort will not inhibit our movement. And this fort really isn't in a strategic position at all. They have no forts on sort of the northern. This is a castle. This is just a capital. Capitals always have a 1,000 garrison as a default, but there's no castle there to actually really slow us down or inhibit our ability to attack. I think we do want to attack, and we do want to make this the war goal rather than to humiliate them. But we could still humiliate them. That could totally be part of what we want to do here. So let's attack. Let's go. And I think actually one thing I'm going to want to do is I think we just blitz to their capital. We take our king. We have no one that has none of our generals. If we go to our general list here, no one has any siege ability. It could be almost worth doing that. Ooh, I'm noticing we have a lot of military power. We're going to be very close to getting a technology. In fact, we might want to check. We're only a few months away from getting a technology. We want to make sure that Nogai and Great Horde don't get that before us. No, they're still at Tech 3. They're still at Tech 3, which is good because that's Tech 4 is very, very important. It gives you a huge amount of additional morale. So it gives your troops a lot more fighting health, basically, like they'll fight longer. And then military tactics just make them fight smarter. So it's kind of a double whammy. I think the next thing we do is we actually bring in the mercs. And mercs are a little bit unusual because they cannot be grouped up. Mercs cannot be grouped up with your regular troops. But the reason why I want the mercs to kind of be down here and in the thick of it is because they use their own manpower. They do not use our manpower. We're still trying to recover our manpower here. We don't have a lot. Of course, you can't really recover manpower at war. We're definitely going to be losing men because we're at war, but I want to minimize that by using the mercs as much as we can. So we're kind of just marching down here, right? Kind of just marching down here. In fact, what we could do is we could try to attach. We could try to get our subjects to attach to the mercs and just run around with those guys and attack primarily with those guys, which is interesting because if we attacked a lot with those guys, we wouldn't be using any of our men, right? All of our men would just be off standing around, basically, which is kind of interesting. Okay, so we can get some prestige or we can get spy network construction speed. I think we actually want the prestige. We're not having any issues building up spy networks. Speaking of which, maybe we want to build a spy network on Sweden. Or maybe we want to build or maybe we want to befriend Sweden, right? Because Sweden is actually a subject of Denmark. It's possible that if we help Sweden get their independence, that could destabilize the Scandinavian region. But I'm thinking we might actually want to get a spy network on Livonian Order. That might be an opportunity to attack under the right circumstances. Okay, so our troops are moving in. It looks like for the most part, the Great Horde is not opting to sort of, I guess, meet us in the field, so to speak. They're cowering right now. Oh, okay. I think I'm torn on this. I want to see if our dudes will group up with the mercenaries. That would be kind of nice. So the war goal, this is the war goal. We're about to take the war goal, and we're sort of creating a line here to hold on to it. The Renaissance. This changes everything. Okay, so the Renaissance is the first institution that has spawned. It is a technology roadblock, essentially. And we're going to talk about that in the next episode. thanks everybody for watching this episode. If you guys have questions, please ask. There is a playlist link down below, so if you're jumping into this, and I guess you wouldn't watch the whole episode, I really need to say this at the start of the episode, but unfortunately YouTube's really weird, and they like suggest videos. They suggest like random videos out of the series rather than suggesting the episode 1, right? So the playlist is down below though, in case you missed an episode or something like that. And then from the playlist, you'll be able to catch episode 7 and episode 8, and as the episodes come out, right, they'll all be added to that playlist, and that's a good way to just catch everything in order and stuff as it comes out. So, but thanks everybody for watching, and we will continue this war against the Great Horde, continue down our Muscovite missions, and we will talk a little bit about the Renaissance and the different institution systems and how they affect technology in the next episode. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.